Have you guys recently checked the Grizzlies record right now in 2024?
Nope.
Well, if you haven't, the Grizzlies are the 13th seed, and they've been the 13th seed since November, which is pretty bad. Even with the return of Ja, they're still 5 games behind the play-in spot at number 10, but they still have hope as we have 2 months left of NBA before the playoffs. My name is Jambalin. I'm a basketball YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're new. Let's talk about the Grizzlies and if they can make the playoffs this year. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is their strength of schedule. Now, as you know, the Grizzlies are 6-4 in the last game, and ever since Ja's come back, their record has gone from 7-19 to 12-23. And they've beaten the Pelicans twice, the Lakers on Friday, January 5th, the Pacers, the Hawks, and the Spurs. The teams they're capable of beating. We also talk about their losses. You know, in this span since Ja came back, they lost to the Nuggets, Clippers, Kings, and Raptors. They really should have not lost that game, with only 2 games coming within 12 points, those games being the Raptors and the Clippers. They got blown out by 37 to the Nuggets without Ja, and to the Kings by 31 with Ja. So we have shaky results in this stretch, but there is a valid excuse because, you know, Ja just came back. He's getting a little bit warmed up though, right? Unfortunately, they have the 12th hardest schedule left to play. As from the recording of this video, which is January 6th to February 4th, let me tell you guys the teams are going to have to play. You're going to have to play the Mavericks, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, the Heat, the Magic, the Pacers, the Kings, the Cavs, the Warriors again, and the Celtics. And this schedule is not looking good at all, guys. Now, can we give them the benefit of the doubt? They have the lowest offensive rating since December 19th, but they have the 12th lowest defensive rating. If you're wondering about their shooting, the 3-point percentage is at 22nd at 35.3, which isn't bad considering they were missing the second best shooter in Luke Kennard for part of that stretch. But one thing they're good at really is slashing the paint, as we know they're a really good slashing the paint team, as they're 8th in that regard. Now with the stats I've given you, you can make your judgment on if this team can hang with the best of the best. We also have to consider them missing the starting center in Steven Adams, who just went through a PCL surgery, and their other main center, Brandon Clark. Because of that, JJJ takes a higher defensive load than usual, as the replacing centers, Bismack Biyombo and Xavier Tillman, aren't as great as those guys, which is probably why bettors get mad at JJJ for fouling out all the time. But he's still doing well, as he's averaging a career 21 points on 45, 85, 83 shooting splits. Desmond Bane is obviously going to do Desmond Bane stuff. He just cooked the Lakers by himself in the 4th quarter and had 24 points. But let me just get back on track. I still have doubts about this team because this isn't the same team from last year, but they do have the same problem: shooting. It's evident that when you have a guy who slashes like LeBron but is an inconsistent shooter, it causes problems, especially when you only have 2 other shooting threats beside him, Jaren Jackson and Desmond. Marcus Smart is as good as a dog he isn't a consistent shooter, and we saw that in the Celtics playoff time and time again, as he would sell momentum due to his shooting and with shooting breaks and just horrible shots. When his team is going to need shooting, how on earth are their rotations going to be? If you play Vince Williams, which is a horrible 3-point shooter, and Santi Aldama, which is an average 3-point shooter, you're gonna need guys like Luke Kennard or Bane to help them out because both guys aren't consistent shooters. But the problem is, Santi Aldama isn't a great defender, and Vince Williams' defense makes up for that. So when you have to play guys like David Roddy, who is a horrible 3-point shooter either, the schedule gets tough and rotations get tighter, how would their lineups start to work? Either you're going to have to replace Marcus Smart for Kennard at shooting guard in late game situations for shooting, or the elephant in the room, Ja is going to have to break his rust and just shoot better. He's shooting 27% from 3, but obviously he's going to go up just because he just came back. And in the playoffs, that slashing stunts he'd be pulling will be harder to do due to collapsing defenses, as this Memphis team isn't the same from 22 or even 23. Now, what about you guys? You guys think they're going to make the playoffs or the play-in? My guess is that they have a hard push for the play-in. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but them making the play-in makes most sense. As we do know, the Western Conference schedule is always shaking up, as the Lakers can go from 7th seed to the 10th seed, and teams can just go up and down because the games are really tight, and the games back are only really tight as well. So, I'm assuming they can maybe push it to the 9th seed, but they probably won't get any higher than the 8th seed. Especially with the good teams, the record's going to be really close, and I don't expect those good teams to really let the Grizzlies sneak in a little bit like that. So my guess is that they get the 9th seed. Now let's say they get the 9th seed. That means that they're going to have to play 2 games. Actually going to have to play 1 game to get to the 8th seed, but if they lose, they're going to have to go against the 10th seed to get the 8th seed, I believe. So talking about that, how does that work with the Grizzlies? Well, load. Their load is going to be crazy because their schedule is going to be hard, and I don't want them to get gassed out during the playoffs. So we have to see how they're going to manage load management with Ja, Bane, and JJJ just because of that. I'm gonna have to see if this bench can step it up because, like I said in my previous video, the Memphis Grizzlies bench is not that good. Their bench is not that good at all. So we'll see coming forward. If you like this video, Thank you guys for sticking with me 2024. Let's keep going. I love you guys. See you in the next video, and peace out.